Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Kyle Abbott is in turmoil as Diane Jenkins's sudden statements put him in a difficult position. When he hears about Diane taking control of Glissade and having the power to fire him, Kyle finds it hard to accept the harsh truth. For Kyle, this is a huge shock. Feeling pushed out of his familiar position of power makes him feel betrayed by his loved ones. Things get worse when Victor confirms that Diane's information is true. Victor, who has always viewed business as a fierce battle, coldly calls this a cruel business move. Victor even secretly mocks Kyle, believing that he will learn this lesson after licking his wounds. These words add fuel to the fire, making Kyle even more indignant. At the wedding, Kyle can't take it anymore and leaves, carrying anger and hurt, along with Claire. Diane, meanwhile, is dealing with her own pain, having to keep the truth to herself, and is under pressure from Jack, who insists that she keep up the plan for a while longer, even though it is tearing her apart. At the Abbott mansion, Kyle goes upstairs to check on Harrison, his beloved baby son. Claire, meanwhile, quietly pours drinks, confused about what is going on. As Jack takes Diane home, the two try to keep a casual appearance, while Claire watches with curiosity. Kyle, unable to contain his anger, questions Jack about why he allowed Diane into the Abbott mansion. But when things seem hopeless, Jack and Diane decide to expose the truth. They planned the whole thing to protect Kyle from dangers he was unaware of. The truth comes out of nowhere. Kyle is shocked, unable to believe what he is hearing. It turned out that Jack and Diane had no intention of turning against each other or putting Kyle in a difficult position, but rather they were putting on a show to fool the enemies in the shadows who were looking to exploit Kyle's weakness to cause trouble. Billy Abbott could not hide his disappointment as he sat across from Sally Spectra in a quiet coffee shop. His eyes were full of anger and bitterness as he told about his mother, Jill's decision to sell Abbott Chancellor to Victor Newman. For Billy, this was not just a business deal, but a personal betrayal, a deep cut to his pride. Sally, with her usual tact, listened to Billy's complaints, but could not help but ask, was this anger really just about work? Or did Billy still have complicated feelings for Jill deep down? "Billy, are you sure you're really over this?" Sally asked, her eyes searching Billy for a moment. Sally didn't let Billy wallow in sadness, though. With humor and gentleness, she managed to pull him out of his anger. Not only did Billy appreciate it, but he also started to look at Sally in a different light, a respectful light. Meanwhile, at the wedding, Abby and Devin happily raised their glasses to celebrate, before Abby happily tossed the bouquet. The crowd waited anxiously, and unexpectedly the bouquet fell into Audra's hands. There was a brief silence before everyone burst into laughter, but in Audra's eyes, there seemed to be something unspeakable. In another corner, Nikki Newman approached Victor to ask about Phyllis Summers' accident. She gently thanked Victor for everything he had done for Chancellor, for the family, and for this wedding. But there was still worry in Nikki's eyes, as the story about Phyllis still had many hidden aspects. Billy Abbott sat silently in the familiar coffee shop, his hands clasping his coffee mug as if it were his only source of comfort. He could not hide his anger as he looked straight at Sally Spectra. "I don't know what my mother was thinking when she sold Abbott Chancellor to Victor Newman. It was a betrayal," he said, his voice filled with anger. Billy felt deeply hurt by Jill's decision, a decision he believed had destroyed the family legacy. Sally sat across from him, listening intently but not entirely agreeing. She knew Billy better than he was willing to admit. With a shrewdness, Sally asked a question that made Billy pause. "Billy, you say you've cut off your feelings for Jill, but are you sure? Maybe this anger is also because you still care about your mother, right?" Billy frowned, about to retort but couldn't form the words. Sally had touched on a deep pain that he had always hidden. However, instead of digging into the wound, Sally gently pulled him out of the negativity. "Instead of complaining, you should think of a way to move on. Victor may have won once, but you are still Billy Abbott. Don't let this get you down." Those words made Billy look at Sally in a different light, full of respect and gratitude. Subscribe to Yonder to stay up to date with the latest news on our channel.